This is episode 43 of the Out of the Minds podcast. I'm Sean Oakley.
And I'm Sam Cooper, and by Jove, we've got another one.
Yes, we are back with our weekly regular evaluation, shall we say?
Yeah, it's like, what do we even call this at this point?
Evaluation.
Yeah.
But hey, you guys seem to like it, and as long as you're listening, we'll still keep cranking them out. And to be fair, it's a good excuse for getting a game in, and it definitely is a useful tool for me for self-analysing my own games. So
Yes.
Brilliant. Right, but on to today's featurette. And we've got some Scum versus Separatists.
El Clasico. We have a Maul off. Who is the better Maul?
I love, and I will give you credit that you pointed it out, but I love the fact that no matter who wins the round, Maul shoots first.
Yes, that indeed. Maul does shoot first.
Do you want a quick breakdown of your list, Sam?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. I will caveat that I'm just unfortunately TTS doesn't have the Mandalorian commandos in. I did want Mandalorian commandos originally in this list just to provide. So the idea was I'm going to have a flurry of stuff on the board to distract you, and then Maul is going to hopefully deal damage. But unfortunately, can't quite do that. It's not in the mod yet, but I'm guessing it'll be soon, because they're usually really good on this.
It's in the
Darth
beta,
Maul.
isn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, it's in the beta.
It won't be long.
I have Darth Maul in the Infiltrator with Hate, Bo-Katan, General Grievous, Hull Upgrade, and Scimitar. Bo-Katan gives me an offensive reroll at range 0 to 1. General Grievous is basically a one-time reinforce. I can spend a charge to cancel a hit or crit. The same as reinforce, and I get that charge back whenever a friendly ship dies. Scimitar title lets me start cloaked, and when I decloak, I can jam someone who is in my bullseye. And then accompanying him, I have 6 Trade Federation drones, and their job is to be annoying.
I've been tweaking my Maul in the Gauntlet list that I've been flying recently when I've not been flying Republic. And I will fully admit I've pinched a combo that I saw on Hexard being flown on Rook Cast and shifted it across. Which is I've got IG-88D on there as a crew, allowing the double calculate. And then Lando crew, which allows you to roll up to 2 blanks by spending a green token. So with 2 calculates, I can do it twice. I've got the force for focus mods if I need it. So yeah, quite interesting to give that a go. I've also got Hate, Cutthroat, Veteran Tailgunner, some Prox Mines, Contraband, the Night Brother title, allowing me to take a focus when I reveal a non-blue maneuver while stressed. 2 charges, so every other turn. And delayed fuses, because, hey, I had a point and maybe I wanted to drop a Prox Mine that one of my ships wanted to go over. Coming along with him are my other 2 staples in this list, Manaroo with Notorious, Jamming Beam. I'm trying out Overtune modulators for the illicit, because there might be that one time where you want to trigger Manaroo's ability and actually just chuck them across to somebody, and then you're not worried about getting strained. And then Punishing One title and the R5P8 droid. So basically I'm getting double mods out the front with an extra dice. And then Ahab, because, hey, a 2-point TIE fighter that can jump over rocks seems good value. So those are kind of my core 3 in this, and I've been tinkering with loadouts, but the other ships as well, which basically leaves me 6 points to play with. And anyone that was listening when I went to the Tin Squadron store event knew that I'd taken Nadru and Cad Solus in the Fang Fighter. But I wanted to try separating into 2 3s instead. So I've bought Gamut Key with Prectoriate Gleb and Enduring, basically using him so that Maul can keep his calculates. So he could, in theory, go into a turn with 4 calculates, which will just give him as many rerolls as he needs. Because Lando actually works on any time you roll dice. So
that's cool.
Attack defense would also work on scramble. Like that one, the one time you roll a blank, but you have to score that objective. you could use it then. You could, in theory, use it on bombs. I'm not sure why you would. Yeah.
Well, if you roll into a prox mine and you get the roll that would kill you, I mean, why not, right?
No, you can only reroll blanks. So
Oh, reroll
yeah.
blanks. Okay.
And then I've also brought Dace Bowman in the Hawk as well, with Hondo and some proton bombs. And Dace's ability, he gets 3 charges, and it's if a ship would gain 1 ion token, you may spend, I think, 3 charges. I'll have to look. It might be a charge, and they're not recurring.
It's 3.
And they would gain 3 instead. So basically, an auto ion for any ship. Which is great, but I haven't brought really any way of ironing people. He's more there because he's 3 points. And a Hawk can be surprisingly resilient. 3 health, 2 shields behind 2 greens can take more of a hit than you think it can.
Yeah.
Okay, but on to the match, and should we talk about turn 0, Sam?
Yeah.
Now,
so
interestingly, you had first player.
Yes.
And you did not put your first token where I thought you'd put it. For people,
where do you think I'd place it?
For people listening, we are playing not Scramble the Transmissions. I was talking about that.
Assault at the Satellite Array.
Assault at the Satellite Array. So basically, area control. Be close. So you placed it at basically range 2 in the center of your area.
Yeah.
I thought you would place it in the corner, so that the trick to force the opponent for their last thing. You place it in your corner as close as you can, then you place it in the opposite opponent corner in your opponent's side as far towards the center as you can, and that forces them to then put the last one back down towards yours.
I've never really thought about that, to be honest.
Fair enough.
Like, for me, as long as there's a trio of objectives near rocks, I don't really care where they are.
Fair enough. But yeah, basically, the setup's reasonably easy. Mine is in my bottom right corner as far as I can get it. Yours is in your centre as far back as you can get it. And then the other 2 are basically midline, slightly on either side.
Yeah.
So we do have it's not even a trio, almost a 4, quite close
on one side of the board,
basically. On one side of the board, where there's, I suppose there's 2 pockets where large bases could get in range of 2 or 3 on a turn. So yeah, but yeah, if you want to talk about setup of your ships,
yeah. So rocks.
Oh yeah, rocks. I always forget the rocks.
My first rock is I placed the biggest rock. Because I brought 3 big rocks, and I placed the biggest rock on the opposite side of the center objective to me, and about range 1 away, just so it would be a little awkward for you to approach from that side. Obviously, you have Ahab, so it's not completely awkward, but just a little bit of awkwardness.
No, but the likelihood is I'm not plonking Ahab right on that rock and hanging him out to dry.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I can't do that to you because you very much will sit on the rocks. So what I've done is I've placed in the center, just the other side of the objective that you've placed centerline closest to yours. My thinking there being, if you want to run and jump on that rock, it's not in a position where you're scoring both of them, and it won't allow you to 5 straight through that rock to the center objective.
Yeah. And then my second rock is I just place it on basically my right hand side near the one that you placed. Is that the one that I placed?
No, you placed one down near my corner to try and block off my.
Yeah, I also placed the croissant.
Yeah, near the other objective.
On the far right hand side. And again, like I said, my objective is I want there to be a rock near an objective as much as I can make it.
And obviously I don't, so I bought the 3 small rocks, and I'd placed the tiny little pointy round one in your corner away from objectives, and then just managed to squeeze the moustache rock in between those 2. So I've got those 3 all on one side away from the majority of the objectives.
Yeah. And then I placed my final rock down near your closest objective, as close as I can, almost on top of the rock, just so that if you want to go towards it, you have to either come around.
Yeah.
Obviously, again, Ahab doesn't care, but the rest of your ships do.
Yeah.
So what we've ended up is like a tennis racket almost.
Yeah.
There's like a large cluster on my side, and I mostly don't care. But it also sets up a channel that I basically have to kind of go through to go into like the big clump. Like if I want to contest anything on my right hand side, I have to go through this channel.
Yeah.
And because most of the scenario points are on my left, I'm either deploying on my left and taking a joust, which I don't think I win these days, or I'm deploying quite clustered and going through this very easy channel to catch me out.
Yeah, whereas I'm quite happy because I've got the one objective close to me, but I can and the rock by it. But if I jump past that, I then got a nice big space with the other objective, and then basically a turn into the center or a turn up behind towards your board edge. And because most games aren't going much past, I mean, a long game these days is sort of 7, 8, 9 rounds, and I think average is about 6 or 7, isn't it? So yeah. I'm not too worried about thinking about where we're going to be. I've got to go around the rocks and circle back in, and that just doesn't tend to quite happen anymore. So yeah, but do you want to talk about where you've stuck your droids?
Yeah, so I stuck one droid on my far right. He's going to 5 straight and then bank in and claim the objective near the croissant. And he's going to sit there for as long as he lives because he just is going to tick up me some points. And then 5 of my vultures in like a reverse wedge, aiming to go down the channel. And I'll like send one off to sit on a rock and claim an objective, and the other 4 will go and be annoying and just shoot and contest objectives and hopefully help my maul deal damage. And then I watched you set up all of your ships on your right, and I set Maul exactly opposite them.
Yeah, so I set up my ships in my bottom right corner, Manaru on the right because we all know the Jumpmaster wants to turn left, and then Ahab basically facing that small asteroid with the objective. My thinking is turn 1 I do a 2 straight, that puts me this side of it, claiming it, and then the next turn he can just jump straight through the asteroid. Gamut's just in front of Ahab, but facing towards the right. He'll basically turn in behind Manaru. Dace is further back, but as far up, facing towards Manaru and Gamut, because he'll hard turn the other side of the asteroid. And I've set Maul up where Dace will basically turn in front of him. Maul can stop, and then basically just delay, and then that sets up for future turns with Dace moving ahead of Maul. So yeah, on to the game, and we rolled off, and you're first player for turn 1.
And the only time it really matters is Maul.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's only Maul.
So yeah, like I said, I do behind, and this is where my first mistake is. I do 4 straights with most of my clump, and I do a 2 straight with the guy who I'm planning on diverting to the rock. For some reason, I just thought the 4 straights the back 4 straights would jump over the guy at the front doing a 2 straight. I was wrong, and so I bump and take a damage already. And this, like, really messes me up a little bit because all of a sudden my formation's messed up. I've taken a damage on a vulture droid who aren't exactly good at not taking damage outside of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go.
Yeah, and then I do what I say, bring Manu up with a 3, turn in, 2 hawks, stop.
Yeah. My Maul does a 3 straight, stays cloaked. I was basically just hoping to try and peek into range of the objective, like without getting too close to the rest of your list. It turns out I'll fail, but yeah.
But
I am in range of Manaru, so I take a target lock. That's a useful target lock, and we'll talk about when that gets used.
Yes, remember the lock on Manaru. Excuse me. So Manaru does end up with a range 3 shot, but it doesn't roll very well, so I'm not spending droid charges on rerolls, and we leave it at that. I had
4 dice on defense anyway, because I'm cloaked at range 3.
Exactly, it wasn't worth the gamble.
So we get 1 point each.
Excuse me. So yeah, this turn's quite interesting because... Excuse me. This turn's quite interesting because your droids are still reasonably far back. And and I wasn't expecting you to do what you do with them. So I thought I might have a bit of an opportunity to jump on Maul here. Now I expected a decloak, and I wasn't sure which way you go because I thought you could either decloak towards your board edge and then just slowly turn in, or you could decloak in and either run away or do a sloop and then bring yourself. I expected a sloop to sit you just in front of your droids, and then next turn you can make your droids go fast.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting hard turns from your droids. So my plan here is basically try and block Maul if I can, but if not, get guns facing on him. And so that I've done a 3 bank with Manaru because that'll sit nicely in front. And I thought if you decloak towards the board edge, you do a 1 bank to try and swing your arc round.
To swing the arc back in. But spoiler alert, I knew I didn't want to do that because I just figured Manaru would be there, and so I thought, well, a 1 straight will likely keep me safe, and if Manaru's not on my arc, I'm pretty sure Gamut, the hawk behind Manaru, would be. And at this point, I'd done no damage, so who I shot, take anyone.
Yeah. So...
my second mistake is coming up here. Like, now that I've gone after the game and thought about it, is I do turn the droids in towards the center of the board, and I actually think I should have taken another turn.
Yeah,
just two straighting, or just something to just rearrange the formation and get ready to turn, or like set up a stagger, like go fast with a couple and set it up so I can easily turn in. But what I do is I sort of like ham-fistedly go for it, and it leaves me in a bad spot for turn after. People will see because basically everyone's turning into the center on my end.
But what caught me off guard was the fact you were banking with them. And I wasn't expecting that because droids don't tend to bank.
Yeah, that is true. Droids do not tend to bank.
But, important, you trigger the Scimitar title.
That's true. Did you know, guys, Scimitar has a second paragraph. When you decloak, you jam someone in your bullseye. And so this is part of the reason why I did it. I knew that Manaru would be in my bullseye because we were at range 3, basically opposite each other. So I decloaked to my left, towards my board edge, towards the board edge, and I assigned Manaru a jam.
And actually, that jam was quite awkward. It forced me to burn a coordinate to get rid of it, basically. So, you start doing some hard turns and some bankings.
Hard turns and some banks and calculates. I'd get a guy on the rock and everything's fine. But again, I think I needed to take another turn going straight towards the centre and then turn in.
I think it would have made it harder for me because it's further I'd have to swing round to be able to attack you. So Manaru does do the 3 bank, and then I lock Maul just to burn the jam off. Actually, I kind of wish I'd seen if a barrel roll would have fit here.
Yeah,
I think that would have been the play, because I've got plenty of space to turn left on the next turn, and the Jumpmaster's left blues are great. There's plenty of options, and it would have blocked any maneuver coming.
Yeah, unless I was doing like a 5k.
Well, yeah,
but
But then you're sat behind me, only force modded, and
I
say no, you've got the lock on him already.
I have the lock,
but there's no way I can block that 5k. So but I bring Gamut up, who does coordinate the focus that Manaru wants, and ditches the stress over to him with Gleb. Ahav jumps through the rock, takes the focus. Dace comes up, and I was going to lock boost, and then I remembered that the Hawk doesn't have a lock boost, it has a lock rotate. So I Hondo instead, and I coordinate one of your stressed ships and jam one of the others. They've got network calculations, but the more calculates I can strip, the less they've got to be able to do that. And then, because I'm first player this turn, Maul goes. He just does a 2 straight blue because it's the slowest that he can do, and double calculates.
Yeah, and then I do a 1 straight. Miraculously, by the pixel of a pixel, don't bump into Manaru. So I take a focus.
Yeah. So I shoot into.
I can't remember which droid you shoot, but you deal a bunch of damage. I think you deal hit crit. Onto
Yeah.
me.
I shoot a droid, deal hit crit, you get one evade. No, I went into Maul.
Was this into Maul?
Yeah,
Okay.
I went into Maul because you. This is where you burn Grievous the first time.
Oh, this is where I burn Grievous. Yeah.
And just take the one shield. Because all the droids were range 3 or range 2 obstructed.
Yeah.
Whereas Maul was just range 3, but obviously
So 3 on 2.
Yeah, one less dice. So yeah.
So I take a damage. I go range 1 into Manaru, do pretty well. Then I can't remember how much damage I do to Manaru. I think I take off a couple of your shields.
You take off 2 shields off Manaru.
Yeah. Then I use Maul's ability to fire another attack into Gamut, and I take his shields down.
Yep, 2 shields off Gamut. Then the rest of my list gets to attack, and I start plinking away at droids, with the exception of Ahab, who goes into Maul because he's larger, gets extra dice.
Take one or two more damage. One more damage, I think.
You take 1 damage on Maul and no damage on your droids. Admittedly, none of the droid shots were. Sorry, none of my shots into the droids were particularly good. I wasn't expecting to do a whole lot of damage.
Yeah, I think I blinked off like another couple of shields off Dace, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're just getting to your attacks now.
Yeah, because I put 5 droid shots into Dace and blink off the shields.
Yeah, I blinked off the shields and gave him a wounded pilot.
Oh yeah.
Which, to be honest, actually, I was expecting a little more damage on Dace from those shots, so I think I got away quite well with that. But yeah, you're now taking.
I believe you Gamut key Maul here, don't you?
I Gamut key Maul, and objectives wise, you've taken 3-1.
Yeah,
that turn to give a 4-2 lead.
Yeah, but Maul and Manaru are tying for one of them.
But I'm kind of committed now to turning in on the droids.
Yeah, and I am in not that great a spot.
Which is the thing. It's like I don't mind that so long as I can start actually killing some of them, and they do burn down. So I'm pretty sure Maul's gonna stop here, and then I debate whether to twist or whether to contraband. And
yeah, so my droids all basically 2 back, 2 straight into the center, just to clear stress and just line up shots. And again, this is one of those things where like hindsight is glorious, but like I think I was too caught up on trying to contest the middle objective and gain points in scenario, and I just think I should have yeeted at you.
Yeah, I mean, I system phase overtune modulators with Manaru because I knew we were going to end up in a melee there, and I was actually expecting to end up wanting to pass those off with his ability. But all of a sudden, I'm probably taking 3 range 1 shots and a range 1 shot back at something. I'll probably actually end up using them. But yeah, that was in my mind there. And then Gamut turns in behind. Ahab does a 3K because I'm expecting Maul to be somewhere down in my arc. Honestly, I expect Maul to either turn in, which I was trying to block with Gamut, or do a 5K, which again, I can't do anything about. And so my Maul's going first because I'm first player this turn, and I've done a stop. Like, if I turn, then I've probably got a decent shot into your Maul, and I might plink Brown out the back, but that's unlikely. But if I stay where I am, then I've got some like range 2 unobstructed into the droids that I can initiative kill. And so I do and ah for a while about whether to burn contraband and get some extra calculates, whether to flip my things and turn. And in the end, I decide not to.
Yeah. So Maul does a 5K. And for me, like this was like the really obvious move because Maul's sitting in front of like 3 enemy ships, has a 5k. So I was like, this is the obvious move, but I also think it's still the correct one because it's basically unblockable. Like the only thing that I think you could really do to punish me is if Maul did his twiddle, because then your Maul is chasing my Maul, and the infiltrator will burn down very quickly.
It will, but the
Um,
only problem is the only shots I'd have would be Maul and an unmodded
yeah,
Ahav. Whereas this way, I've got 2 Hawks, a Jumpmaster, and the Gauntlet that can go into your droids,
yeah.
and I'm expecting to kill at least one of them.
Yeah, because the way I was seeing is like this is the predictable move, but I still think it's the correct move because A, I can test this back objective because the Mauls will contest each other, and B, I can just start following your 3 ships and shooting and shooting and shooting.
Now, see, this is the other thing I was thinking about. Because of 5k, I didn't think it'd take you down as far as my Maul is, and it hasn't. You're slightly further up. It means that it's easier for me to hang back on the next turn and start shooting at you because
Yeah,
you can't. You're stressed, so you're not K-turning or slooping or anything. And I know what the blues are like on the infiltrator. So my thought was like a 1 bank to the right or something is almost going to guarantee you being in arc. But yeah,
but there we go.
So we get to some shooting.
Your Maul shoots, kills a droid.
Kills a droid. Okay, so I expected 1 to die at least. Wasn't expecting Maul to one-shot him.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, this is the thing with vulture droids is sometimes they will live a million years longer than they should, and sometimes they will just die.
Yeah.
That is the sad duality. So I roll hit crit into Manaru. You evade 2 of them, so I blink your last shields off, and then I think I spend 2 force to have another go at Dace, or do I not spend?
No, I don't think. I don't think you had the force at that point.
Whatever. Either way,
I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting about Maul's double tap ability. Like
yeah.
every time you did it to me, it was a shock. And I was like, God damn it! I know we can do it. But yeah. So my list starts plonking into
vultures,
various
into
vultures,
Maul and all that jazz.
And I think I plink one more off. I kill Pink. So I've taken 2 droids off that turn, which is probably slightly above average, but not out the realms of impossibility.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like there is a world where you kill no droids this turn, and I think both are statistical.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Because like most of the shots weren't double modded, they were just single modded, and I had single mod on defense. Like there's a world where you kill 2 droids, there's a world where no droids die, but they all take a bit of damage.
Yeah. But it's one of those as well, like I'm single modded and you're single modded, but I'm focus, you're calculate, and although you can spend 2, that means they start burning down quite quickly.
Yeah.
So but yeah.
So at this point, I'm just like, depending on how my return shooting goes, this is slowly creeping away, but that's fine. Brown like does a random long range shot into Dace and doesn't do anything, but hey, he had a shot.
Yellow shoots into Manaru and takes him down to 4 health and gives him a loose stabilizer.
Yeah, crit.
Takes a strain from the Notorious.
I must say, yellow vulture droid was acing his shots.
The one that took a damage right at the start became the biggest pain in the rear.
He was like crit. And then I think about going range 0 into Manaru, but I just take range 1 into Ahav just because I just want the extra dice. Manaru, like, even if I did put 2 dice into Manaru, it's not like I could kill you.
Yeah.
And maybe I could spike and take out Ahav.
But luckily I managed to dodge that, so Ahav is still fine.
But you know.
So yeah, that's.
Have we updated points? Are we still 7-7?
Yeah, we were because we were. So you did another 3-1 on the objectives because, but I took 2 vulture droids. That brings us to 7-7 after round 3. Yeah, and then, well, we know Ahab's going straight. Dace is double stressed. So at this point, I don't really think I can turn much on red and green, or Maul for that fact. So I'm actually going to try and gun at the double strained yellow. Apart from Manaru, who's going to go straight because of the loose stabilizer. But luckily, Brown's sitting,
Yeah.
far out that and nicely in the front arc. So
Manaru still has Maul's target lock because the moment I took that target lock, I started rolling shit hot against Manaru. Pardon my French.
Yes, you did.
So I have options. So obviously, my brown droid who's sitting on a rock contesting a point is going to stay sitting on the rock contesting the point until he dies, which is coming soon, guys. Don't worry. My yellow droid, I did debate flying off the rock just to try and juke you, but doing a 2 straight I didn't think would get me anywhere. So I believe I rotate just to face the center of the board and calculate. And it's basically like I'm strained. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
If you'd gone 2 straight, you would have caught me completely off. I think Gamut still would have got a shot, but yeah.
My other 2 droids, they turn up into where Maul is going to be coming, and they're basically just trying to get in the way of your ships. Trying to avoid Manaru, maybe get a shot into Ahab or just plink away at Maul. And then my Maul is just going to follow your Hawks wherever they may go.
And my Hawks, well, Manaru 3 straight. So, I'll think of his name in a minute. Gamut does a 4 straight, I believe, and then locks the yellow droid and links it to a rotate.
Yeah. I believe Dace does like a 2 or 1 straight.
Yeah, Dace does the 1 straight to get rid of one of his stress. Ahab turns himself in front of Maul. Takes focus to basically just try and block. I think it still leaves me range 1 of the objective, or I thought at the time it left me range 1 of the objective. And yeah, just trying to block Maul. And I do.
Yeah, I try and do a 2 bank over Ahab and fail, but I'm sort of okay. I take a red focus.
So
I'm pretty sure I've got targets, and at this point I just need Maul to have targets.
Yeah. So my Maul pops contraband and does another stop. And I consider turning and shooting into your Maul this turn. Because it's, I know that he's going to be in arc. But then I think I'm down a dice, 1 defense dice. I've got 2 shots from vultures coming in. I don't think it's worth it. So I just double calculate and then try and shoot at the droids. But your Maul shoots first into Dace and sticks another 1 on him, so he's got 1 left. And I was actually kind of expecting you to kill something this round because I really wanted to stop for a 3rd time and I needed Cutthroat to get contraband back. But
alas, not even I can kill things. So your Maul throws a bunch of damage into one of my vultures, and I go down to 1 health with a loose stabilizer. That is very relevant. That loose stabilizer.
Yeah. But your green dice are starting to show up a bit now because 2 rounds ago that would have been a blatted vulture.
Well, like I say, sometimes vulture droids blop, sometimes they just live.
So Dace and Gamut both go into yellow, who was strained for both
I take
shots.
1 damage.
And takes 1. I mean,
I was strained, but it was also obstructed.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like, Dace was 2 dice unmodded, and Gamut was 2 dice target lock.
They got 2 hits.
So I think that's pretty fair. And then Manaru does a range 2 out the front into Brown. So 3 spends a droid charge to re-roll the blank and a focus for 3 hits.
And Dice Gods giveth, Dice Gods taketh away, Brown blanks out and dies.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. So now I think we've got yellow going into Manaru.
Yep, I get
crit.
Focus crit.
And I focus blank with no token. So I believe I take another fuel leak. Another fuel leak and another loose stabilizer.
Yeah.
I don't think I forgot. I think I forgot to update the overlay here for anyone watching. So I think Manaru's on 1 left with a loose stabilizer. So
Yeah, and then I put some shots into Maul. I'm not really expecting any of this. Just rolling dice at this point because there's no way the vultures are going to be really doing anything. And we score points, and I believe you get one. I believe you get two here to my nothing.
so you've got one up here. Oh no, because
No, because Manaru's got
Manaru's
it.
range. Yeah, so I think it was no, yeah, no. I think you scored one because you've gone up to 8. So probably
Yeah.
the one by the vulture.
Yeah.
But yeah, and because I've killed the droids, I've now got a 12-8 lead.
Eels.
But yeah, Manaru's got 1 health left, so that's 4 points likely coming your way soon.
Yeah, like I said, at this point, I'm still not mega worried.
Dace is likely to die soon. He's got 2 health left and a wounded pilot. So
Yeah, he's got 1 health
sorry,
left.
sorry,
Like
one,
you've got 2 1 health ships, and
Yeah.
I've got Darth Maul coming up behind them.
Yeah.
So I'm not 100% worried. My only concern would be if the Vulture droids die and you just tick over 20 before Maul can clean up.
Yeah.
But either way, so in a moment, guys, anyone listening, we're going to get to one of those pieces of advice that is not really nice to give, but here's an advice: don't remind your opponent that they have bombs.
Yeah, no, don't do that. I mean,
yeah, because in a second we'll go to the. I'll say system phase, and Sean will say no, and then I'll say, "Are you sure you have bombs?"
like I'd glossed over them, but because I knew Maul wasn't stopping, and Dace is dropping a proton bomb from Dace will catch Maul. And I'd forgotten about your loose stabilizer on green, so I was just expecting him to turn away, and then I was like, "Oh, he'll too hard to the," as I'm looking at it to the right, and land on that rock, and I'm done. And then I remembered he had a loose stabilizer, and the more I thought about it after you mentioned it, I was like, "Okay, yeah, no, I've got a shield on Maul. Just accept the damage. Half points aren't a thing."
Yeah.
So yeah, I in fact dropped the proton bomb.
Yeah. And so, but I hit. Got it. Lots of mistakes. I have a loose stabilizer on the green drone, but I wasn't thinking too hard about it. I just wanted to get in range of that objective to contest it. So I do a 2 straight bump into Maul and don't take anything because I figure Maul's either bumping into me, and I have 1 health. He'll kill me if he shoots me, or he's going over and likely has better targets. And if he shoot me out of the rear arc, I'm doing okay, and I should have the calculate from the other drone. What I should have done is go as fast as I can over Maul and fix the loose stabilizer because then I can turn.
Or even if you didn't do that, take the red calculate.
Yeah, like I think not taking the red calculator is still correct because I just want to make sure I'm not stressed. But I should have gone as fast as I could over Maul to fix the loose stabilizer, no matter what.
That's fair.
So and then my other one, he turns in, and I try to barrel roll, link it to a calculator to get out of range of the bomb, but I'm pretty sure I don't make it. Like I'm not kidding myself where I'm like, oh yes, I'm definitely fine. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't accidentally block Maul.
So Manaru's done a 1 straight, which is the only maneuver he could do to not die. Lands just in front of an Asher, and I mean just in front of the Moustache Rock. So he is guaranteed to go over that next turn if he's still alive. So I could have barrel rolled, but I think that just puts me in front of the other rock. So I just opt to lock yellow, rotate, we'll try and kill him, and accept that Mana is going to die. And to that extent, Gamut and Dace just 1 straight towards yellow, and take. Gamut focuses, so he's double modded. And I was going to lock with Dace, but in the end, I actually decided to Hondo, and I'm glad I did. I coordinate one of your stressed red vulture, and then jam the calculate off yellow because he's got no one at range 1 to network calculations with. And then Maul. So Maul couldn't do a blue because I was pretty confident you block both of them. So I actually just 4 straight. I pop Night Brother title, which allows me to take a focus, land right on the on the proton bomb, but I've got a shield. It's not the end of the world. And it means that I've got targets front and back now as well, which is a bonus. So yeah, I move my stresses up.
Yeah, I did a 2-bank with my maul and I bump into yours. I take the red focus. We both take damage from the bombs.
Red takes a fuel leak as well, because obviously
Yeah.
that's straight through, not on the shields.
Yes. And my green drone, hilariously, we thought we kind of both assumed he was going to die from the bomb, but he's actually not in range, so he's fine.
The other reason I dialed in that 4 straight was my thought was, if I jump over your vultures and they're anywhere close behind me, next turn I drop a prox mine on them.
Yeah.
Which. So yeah.
Alright.
So I'm first player, so I shoot first. So I take the range to obstructed onto yellow in my front arc. I roll hit.
I roll evade, focus, and because I lost that calculator, I then die. But I do get a laugh at all the preparation that Sean has made to kill that vulture droid, and the worst shot gets him.
Locks from the Hawks, focuses on Gamma. They're like pointing. They've got no other shots. Manaru has no other shot, and it's like, oh yeah, fine. Maul's just going to do it. All right, fine. Then I double tap out the back into red, and stick 1 damage through there.
Yeah. So I have 2 vultures with 1 health left. My maul goes into Dace
and annihilates Dace. Which is great, because
then I think I double tap into Gamut.
You double tap into Gamut. Mace dying triggers Cutthroat, so I'm able to get my Contraband Cybernetics charge back. And
Gamut dodges.
Yeah, Gamut dodges. So the only other shot I have is,
I believe that's Ahab. And
I don't think I did
with a calculate.
Yeah. And that's that. Just what I do. Points. So you score 1 from the objective, and I think I score.
You scored 2.
2. But obviously, Dace has died, so that's net you a couple of points. Although I haven't updated it on the overlay yet, I'm sure I'll do that in a second. So it's 9-16, but you need to add Dace into that. So 12-16 at the moment.
Yeah. And it'll shortly be 16-16.
Yeah, because
16-18, because Manaru is going to die.
Manaru can't not die. He's in front of a rock that he can't not go over, which means he's taking that damage. So I opt for, I'm going to try and die with as many damage from a single maneuver as I can. So your green vulture droid, I think, does a 2 straight.
Yeah, and flips the loose stabilizer.
Manaru does a 2 bank over the rock. So I take 2 damage from the 2 loose stabilizers I have. I take a damage from the rock, and I roll, and I believe I get a hit. So take 4 damage and then end up on -3.
Then I point out that he's now out of range of Cutthroat, so it doesn't get to trigger that. Which could have been relevant.
I could have got a prox mine back. I don't.
You can't get prox mines back.
All right, then in which case there was nothing I could get back.
Remove a stress, right?
Oh yeah, you can remove. I always just think about the charge. Yeah, remove a red or green token. Well, I mean, to be honest, I've got 2. I've got 2 stress, and I've dialed in a stop this turn, so I wasn't.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying things to think about. Like if you're going to die and you have Cutthroat, like.
I don't think there's a maneuver. Maybe a hard turn might have.
Yeah, that's what
hard turn to the left. Yeah, maybe. That's yeah, definitely so. And yeah, actually, read the whole of the cards. Stop just focusing on one part of
it. We glossed over it, but yes, the prox mine did kill the red Trade Federation drone. So Sean's on 18, and when Sean updates the overlay, I'll be on 16.
So yeah,
what that means is Sean needs 2 points to win, which he's pretty likely to get unless Maul really heavily spikes out on someone.
Yeah.
But either way, your Maul is likely to win you the game.
I've still not killed Dace. I wonder if I don't kill Dace, that might have netted you more points. We'll have to look into that. But yeah, so your Maul goes in front of mine and has... Oh, by the way, for just to circle back, when Manaru died, so went that target lock with him from Maul that didn't get used for the entire
that turn 1 target lock that didn't get used.
But
That
yeah,
was a relevant target lock.
Maul basically banks in front of your Maul banks in front of my Maul has
has Gamma in arc, so I take a target lock.
I pop my contraband again, stop. I've got Maul in front of me, I've got the green behind me, so I just take the double calculate.
I think Ahav turns around to just follow Maul, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So you shoot Garrett, deal 3 damage, and kill him. Go straight through.
So I'm actually on 19 points, interestingly, because Dace should be dead. But it's fine. It doesn't matter at the end.
I think you actually end up 1 point behind, but we'll get to that. So I range 1 into Maul and spend a calculate to reroll a blank, spend some force for 4 hits.
I roll an evade, and I General Grievous away 1 of the damage, so I take 2.
But that's fine. I got you down to 6. I wasn't going to kill you, so that's reasonably irrelevant. But then I veteran tail gunner out the back at green and get 2 hits.
And I roll evade, focus, blank, and green dies.
Yeah, that's the one I needed. So that puts me on to 20.
Then you're gonna get. I can't remember. I think you get 1 point from Ahav, and I get 1 point from Maul contesting one of them.
The top one, I think.
Yeah,
because I could have shot at Maul with Ahav, but I didn't really see the point. I'm not going to deal 6 damage to him at probably range 3 unmodded.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it's actually 21 to 20,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't clock that I hadn't knocked that last health off Dace. But yeah, so 21 to 20 in the end. So a really close.
Yeah,
close
okay.
match.
So yeah, because I was relying on you telling me what the score is, so I was like, oh, it's 18-16. Okay, that's fine. It's over. Okay, interesting. I mean, 21 to 20 is a very close game.
I'm not entirely sure there is. Let's just go back to the end. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, because also I remember at some point I put 2 damage onto Ahav. Not that it mattered because Ahav didn't die in the end. But
I'm not sure there's a move you overly could have done to like get an extra 2 points.
I literally just needed my Vulture Droid to live, which is why I was saying like the big like the game losing mistake in hindsight was not just going fast with the Vulture Droid to fix the loose stabilizer.
If your Vulture Droid had lived, that means we would
actually win.
No, you wouldn't win because we're both Ahav's range 1 of that bottom one, so we'd both be drawing. So I'd lose a point.
Well, no, because
I'm
because I would be on because with Dace dead currently as it stands.
You're on
I'd
20.
be on 20 right now.
So I'd be on 19,
because you'd be on 19.
Yeah, that is
but
true.
It doesn't matter. The droid died, and there's every chance that even if I do the fast move and fix the loose stabilizer, the droid still dies because that move does give Ahav that shot on that round.
Yeah,
which I don't think he really got a good shot. Or maybe he did. I can't remember. Either way.
Oh no, Ahav didn't have Ahav went through the rock and did nothing. You evaded it. But if you'd gone fast and jumped over Maul, then I dropped my other prox mine.
Yeah.
So but either way of where it would have shooken out, close game.
Yeah, no, yeah. Here's the thing. I only evaded it because I was within range 1 of the red drone to take his calculate. If I go fast, I'm not in range 1, and so I die a turn earlier. So, but like I said, this is all hindsight magical thinking.
Yeah, that's true.
But I still think the correct play was I go fast because I need to fix that loose stabilizer and turn that droid in.
Yeah. And that's it's a fun game. Like,
I'm not down on Maul in the Infiltrator.
No, I don't think you pair him with 6 vultures though.
Yeah.
Or if you do, I think actually, ironically, having the commandos in there would have made all the difference. Because if you're
even though General Grievous does make me live longer.
But I mean, he saved you 2 health. You've still got 6 left.
Yeah, true.
Dishing out strains is going to punch even more damage through on me.
And just random 2 attacks, right? Like that's a random 4 attacks.
Yeah, exactly.
That
get a soft mod as well. So change your focus to a hit, don't you? So, yeah.
And hey, I have Shattering Shot in that build as well, so you never know.
Yeah, it's hang on. Instead of hate.
I have Hate and Shattering Shot. Darth Maul and the Infiltrator has 2 force places.
Screw Darth Maul and the Infiltrator.
Oh, shut up, you with Maul in the Gauntlet. You get a Talon. I want a Talon.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I'm really thinking that the core of this scum list is Maul in whichever build you want to do him in. I don't think it's the Jabba contraband. I actually, ironically, think this might be slightly better than Zam.
Yeah,
because it's not relying on you being shot. And
yeah, it's interesting because I feel like the big Maul is just not worth targeting unless it's chance encounter.
yeah, and it's being able to get multiple rerolls off those green tokens.
Yeah,
It's good. But yeah, Maul, Manaru, and Ahab for 14 points.
yeah,
Is a good, and it's just what do I do with the remaining 6 points? Something like a double hog, or Cad and Nadru, or I'm gonna have a flick through. Or I mean, I could try a 4-ship list and just put something like one of the Razor Crest ships in.
Yeah,
Because that'd be what 2 large and medium. Yeah, we'll have to play around with that. What you need to do is how many trade drones do you have to? Oh, you'd have to get rid of like 3 to put in General Grievous, wouldn't you?
I'd have to put in 3 to go to General Grievous. Then I'd have 1 point left over that I guess I'm just giving to my opponent, or I upgrade a trade fed into something else. I guess
What's the best 4 points you can do?
probably one of the bombers,
Or,
like a tri-fighter, I guess.
Or do you just get rid of one of them and upgrade 2 to a 3-point something?
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm gonna give this list some more goes, but with the Death Watch commandos, because I just think having the extra 2 things, dishing out strains and random attacks, might actually be well worth it.
Definitely.
Just because then the trade fed shots are just that much better.
Yeah.
And just 2 extra shots at I2. Like sometimes that's gonna initiative kill something that would kill a droid.
Yeah. Indeed. Right, well, on the note of little Mandos fending off ships and saving the mighty Trade Federation, I think we'll call it there for this week, sir. Unless you've got anything else you'd like to add?
No, not really. Bring on the droids. I'm going to keep experimenting with droid swarms because whilst I think... Actually, I think I said this earlier. Like, it feels like now that we've played 2.5, like... So before, I was like, I think trade feds are relatively fairly costed. And now I think they might have been just slightly too efficient overall, but like with no way to fix it in 2.0 because the points, like you couldn't make them more expensive without making them bad, and cheaper would be a disaster for the game. And now that other things have also become more efficient, it's like actually trade feds at 20 points were ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Because of network calculations, and now they're just fine. And I think that's what's tripping people up is that everyone, like if you're a droid swarm player, you're used to the trade feds just getting a lot more value on their own because they'll just have calculates. And now, like when I played at 10 Squadron Night against Steve, like I killed an A-wing and a Z95 with vulture droids, and it's like, yeah, that's normally like that's like trade up. Like, no, they're both worth 2 points. It's like, oh, but they're so much harder to kill. Okay, no, the Z95 isn't, but like the A-wing is much harder to kill than a trade fed. And it's like, yeah, this cost you 2 Trade Federation drones, but you only gain 2 points.
Yeah.
So that's what's interesting.
There'll be some mighty good pieces in the other factions. I mean, honestly, I think Ahab is. I don't know. Ahab's possibly on a par with the trade feds
because he's a TIE fighter.
You've got the same stats, but
you have an extra agility. How dare you say you have the same stats?
I have an extra agility, and I can move through rocks, but so can you. Although I'm not limited, and you've got network calculations.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I feel like because I still like the trade feds. I still think they can still do work. Like this game that was close.
Oh
right?
Yeah. Very much so.
What you know? What's funny? This game was close. I lost 90% of my list.
Yeah. Like, literally, you had more left.
I had more left. Yeah. Okay, yeah, I did kill quite a bit of your list as well. But normally, when you're playing, like, separatists, well, I say normally, in previous eras, like, if you lost all 6 trade feds and still just had your kill piece left, you're like, yeah, the game's over.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's all I got. I think I got to keep experimenting. Trade. I got to get more used to Trade Federation drones' current power, because a lot of things have grown in power and they've stayed the same. I think that's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
Is that because everything else went up in power, it feels like they should have. But I think they stayed the same, which tells you probably just how strong they were beforehand, even if it was just like subtly through efficiency.
Right. Well, on that note, we shall call it there. As Sam says, we will continue experimenting. I've got a store championship at Curtin coming up in like 3 weeks, I think. So, kind of need to settle on a Republic or a Scum list. So I kind of feel like the Scum one will be more fun, but I kind of feel like the Republic one's better. So, yeah. We'll play around with that, and we will bring in the results of those experimentations over the coming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I'm just glad that the Infiltrator felt good.
And on Sam's Infiltrator feel goods, we'll call it there. So I'll just say goodbye.